Hello so creatives, it's Faustina here. Welcome to another interesting tutorial. On today's tutorial we are going to learn how to cut and sew this beautiful bodycon beautiful gown that you are seeing on the screen. So I have to twist the sleeve of my own so that it can resonate with the style I have in mind. So that's why the sleeve of the thumbnail, the picture that is on the thumbnail, the sleeve is different from mine. So if it's something that you would like to learn how I cut and put it together, please keep watching and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time we post our video. And if today is your first time of coming to my channel, you are welcome. My name is Faustina and I post more of sewing tutorials, sewing hack and sewing DIY. So let's dive into our cutting table. So these are the material we are working with. We are working with 2 yards of flower stretching material. It's not a lycra, it's a flower stretching material, and we are working with our drafting paper, our tape rule, our pattern curve and our marker. So we now go ahead and start drafting out the bodies of our beautiful gown. So I've gone ahead to draw out 2 boxes because I want to draft both the front and the back at once. So each boxes contain the quarter of our hip measurement, which is the largest part of our body, which is our hip divided by 4 value. My hip is 40, I have to divide it by 4, and each box has 10 inches measurement. So I'm starting off from the shoulder. I have to go ahead and mark out my shoulder, and from my shoulder I'm going to come down by my chest line. So how do you get your chest line? Your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and because we are adding shoulder slope on it, we are going to add our shoulder slope allowance of 1 inch, which in total you are going to be adding 2.5 inches on the value that you have after dividing your hip by 6. So I went ahead to put my bust points from my chest line, came down by 1.5 inches, which basically work for medium people. If for a larger bust, you can go ahead and come down by 2 inches, or rather you can go ahead and measure out your client shoulder to bust point. So I went ahead to impute my shoulder to waist measurement, as you can see. So I'm trying to label it, my bust point, my chest line and my waist. So from my waist I'm going to impute my hip line measurement. So my hip line measurement is 9 inches, so I have to label it my hip measurement. So I will now go ahead and now mark out the length of my gown, but note that this paper couldn't cover the length of my gown. I'm working with length 60 and this paper is length 40, so I have to manage the paper like that, and I will basically complete the length of my gown on the main fabric while transferring this pattern to my main fabric. So I went ahead to mark out my armhole line on my chest line, and on the armhole line I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for the front shoulder slope, and the neck we went in by 3 inches for the neck width. And remember, we are drafting turtleneck, so I went in by 3 inches, which is the basic measurement, and I came down by 1.5 on the shoulder, on the armhole line. So for the neck depth of this turtleneck beautiful bodycon gown, I came down by 2 inches. That means it's 3 by 2. So I came down by 2 inches. While on the armhole line, on the chest line, I went up by 3 inches and I came out by 0.75. I'm going to taper it to my shoulder slope, and on the chest line I'm going to impute my bust divide by 4 measurement. But before you start imputing your body measurement, you have to note this very important part. We are working with a very stretchy fabric and we are trying to achieve a bodycon beautiful outfit. So we are going to minus 3 inches from all our actual body measurement. Like we are going to minus 3 inches from our waistline, from our bust, and from our hip circumferences. So let's assume my bust is bust 36. I'm going to minus 3 from the 36, and the remaining value I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 4. So this is basically what I did on all my body measurements. And we are not adding any dots. It's a very stretchy fabric, and you are trying to achieve a bodycon outfit. So we are minusing 3 inches from all our body circumferences. So in order to get a very fitted bodycon outfit. So after minusing all the 3 inches from my body circumferences, I have to divide the value I have, and I imputed my values on my bust line, on my waist, and on my hip line. So after imputing it, I went ahead to join the lines like so, on my chest line to my waist, and from my waist to my hip line. You can see how I'm trying to place my pattern curve. So after marking it, we now start working on the hem part of it. So on the hem part of it, from the hip line, I'm going to come down by 10 inches for my new measurement. So I have to get my new measurement in order to give it that pencil effect. So after marking out my new measurement, the value I have on the hip measurement, I'm going to minus 1 inches from the hip value. Let me assume that I have 9.25 on my hip line. I'm going to basically minus 1 inches, which I will be left with 8.25. So I'm going to impute that 8.25 on that my new measurement in order to get a pencil effect. Note that you don't have to use my own measurement. You can use your own body measurement, but just follow the formula I'm trying to convey. So I have to go ahead and now complete it all the way down to the hem of my gown. Remember, the gown length is not complete. I'm going to complete it while transferring to the fabric. So I went ahead to complete my armhole like so. So the front part is basically ready. We now go over and start drafting the back. So this is the back view. So I'm trying to rule out all the lines that we have on our front pattern, so that we can just go ahead and start imputing our horizontal measurements. So from our starting point, I imputed my shoulder measurement, and also do the same on our chest line so that we can get our armhole line. So on our armhole line for the back, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope for the back. And on the neckline, I also went in by 3 inches for our neck width, and our neck depth for the back is 1 inches. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this my armhole line. After getting the midpoint, I'm going to go in by half an inch, and now rule out the line to my shoulder slope. And on the chest line, I'm going to impute my bust circumference, and now go ahead and complete my armhole curve like so. So on the waistline, we are going to contour our waist so that we can eliminate zipper bulge on the center back of our beautiful bodycon dress. So on the center back of the waist, we are going to go in by 1 inch, and we are contouring by 100%. So we are going to go in by 1 inch, and that 1 inch we are going to taper it to our neck depth like so. You can see I'm placing my pattern curve. So while on the down part, we are also going to trace it back to the hip line like so. So this place I'm putting as asterisk, we won't be making use of it. We are going to cut it off, so to get that slanted effect of the center back of our beautiful gown. So from our new center back, I'm going to impute my waist circumference, and on the hip, I'm also going to impute our hip circumference, which is our hip divided by 4 value. So I'm going to join the chest to waist and waist to hip like so. So while on the hemline, this is how you go about the back hem pencil line. So I'm going to mark out my hip value, and on that hip value from the side I'm going to come in by 0.75, while on the center I'm also going to come in by 0.75. So I shared 1.5 inches difference on the both side, both the side of our back beautiful gown and on the center too. I see how I'm trying to tape it all the way down. See how slanted and beautiful that back is looking. That is how yours should look if you follow all the procedure. So the back is also ready. We now proceed in cutting it out. You can see how I'm trying to cut out that contour that we did on the waist part, so we won't be needing that particular part. And go ahead and cut out all the patterns and also do the same to the front pattern. So after getting our pattern, we now start transferring it to our fabric. So these are our two patterns, both the front and the back, and this is our fabric. So I'm basically going to use my pin and check and transfer the patterns to my fabric. So I've gone ahead to transfer it to my fabric, adding all the necessary allowances, and you can see at the downside I now completed the length of my beautiful bodycon gown. So how do I go about it? Firstly, I trace out the what I have on the paper before I start adding 1 inch sewing allowance on the side, and ½ inch on the armhole, ½ inch on the shoulder and on the neck. And this is the back also. I did the same thing on the back. I extended the length of my beautiful gown, added 1 inch sewing allowance on the side, which is known as seam allowance, and also 1 inch on the zipper side. You see how slanted that waist side is looking. And you also add ½ inches on the neck, on the shoulder and on the armhole. So this is the hack I use mostly to get my zip to lay very flat on a stretchy material. So I'm basically going to iron hairstay on the zipper allowance in order to give it a stability where our zip is going to run. So I've gone ahead to iron hairstay on that zipper allowance, and we are going to close up our bodies by joining the shoulder by ½ inch, joining the tutu side by the 1 inch same allowance that we added while transferring the patterns to our fabric. So I'm going to move over to my sewing machine and go and sew it. So I've gone ahead to sew it. So this is the outcome. If you watch closely, you can see the thread is running so curvy all the way down to the hem of our beautiful gown. So and also went ahead to join the shoulder, and for the zipper side I also went ahead to close up the zipper side, leaving only the where our zip will sit and also the slit of our beautiful gown. I added 23 inches slit on the down part. Though the slit is as preferred, you can go ahead and add any length you want, but mine added 23 inches long open slit at the back of my beautiful gown. For the zipper area, why I didn't add the zip is because we are going to add the turtleneck before adding the zip. So we are going to basically measure out what we have on that neck area so that we can go ahead and cut out our turtleneck. So this is our neck. I'm going to now use my tape and measure it round the neck from one zipper area to the another zipper area all round my neck. So after getting the value I had was 16. So I will proceed in cutting out the turtleneck of my beautiful gown. So the turtleneck is going to be cut on fold and on a straight line because the fabric is already stretchy. So I'm going to cut out 2 inches on fold. If you open it up, you will have 4 inches. So I'm going to cut out 2 inches on fold. After sewing, I will be left with 1.5 inches, and I went ahead to cut out the value that I measure out from the neck of my beautiful gown. So after getting the turtleneck. Like you can see, I will now start sewing it from one zipper area like so to the other side. I'm not tucking anything in because even the side we have to sage it also, so we just go ahead and sage the neck area too. So from one zipper side I'm going to sew half an inch all the way to the other zipper side. So I've gone ahead to sew it. So this is the outcome. You see how beautiful the turtleneck is looking, and we are now going to proceed in adding our zipper on the zipper space that we created. So I've gone ahead to insert my zipper. You see how beautiful and flat is laying. So after inserting my zipper, this is what I do. I go ahead to cut out the excess hairstay that is laying on the zipper area. So I will be left with just small hairstay. Just the place that the thread of the zip is running is where the hairstay will be left. So I went ahead to iron big hairstay so that I will have an excess. I won't lack any hairstay. But after sewing your zip, you can go ahead and trim it off so that you will have a very neat finishing. So after trimming it up, you can also go ahead and iron it flat. So this is how I'm trying to unfuse the excess hairstay on our beautiful gown. You can see how I'm trying to unfuse it on the place that we don't need it. So after unfusing it with my hand, I went ahead to trim it off. So you should be careful while trimming so that you won't cut any part of the fabric. So you do it diligently. So I'm unfusing and I'm trimming it off. So I'm going to do the same to the other side too, and I also go ahead and iron it flat. So I've gone ahead to cut out all the excess or hairstay that we don't need, and you see how neat the outcome of it came out to be. So we now proceed in cutting out our sleeve measurement. So I went ahead to fold our fabric into four because we are going to cut the tutu sleeve at once. So this is how I go about that sleeve that came out at my finger area. So after getting from my shoulder to my wrist, I also went ahead to measure out my wrist to my finger area, after which I went ahead to measure out the round circumference of my finger area to get my own value. So for the sleeve, I also went ahead to minus 2 inches from my sleeve circumferences. I minus 2 inches from the back sept, wrist, and all the allowances, all the circumferences that I have on the sleeve. So I went ahead to now impute the value and also cut it out. So I'm trying to impute the values, and after imputing the values I will now cut it out. But note how I cut out that wrist. So if you observe, you will know that the wrist is smaller than the finger area. So you are just going to input all the values that you have. When you reach to that wrist, you will now taper it as if you want to cut a fillet. So just watch closely and see how I cut out my sleeve. So this is how you go about yours. Also, don't forget to add your 1 inch sewing allowance. So this is it. When I reach to this wrist area, I now taper it out to get my finger nail value. So after cutting my sleeve, I went ahead to notch the center. I'm now going to go and sew it to my outfit. So this is the outcome. You see how beautiful our outfit is looking. So this is the end of the tutorial. If you have watched to this level, wow, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment. I love you.